Welcome to She Says with your host, Stephanie Regalado. She Says guests share stories from their challenges to successes and, most importantly, the journey of womanhood woven alongside the collaboration of sisterhood. From self, love, friends and family, to hot topics, career, and world views, Stephanie and her guests discuss matters with utmost openness and honesty. So let's hear what she says. Here's Stephanie.
Hello, it's She Says. We're back. We managed to be back again another week, which is pretty amazing.
We're here. We made it.
And I'm super excited to have one of my favorite humans in all the land, Erin. What?
That's my new name, everybody. We're announcing it here.
Erin? I was
Marinated Enoch. We don't even know anymore.
Erin Meenach. Mama O. I was combining Marin.
Yes.
Well,
I like Marin,
Mama
actually.
And this is not my first time meeting you, so that's even funnier. And I've never botched your name. But the cool thing, too, about having you here is you are the voice of the intro of this little podcast.
The secret's out. It's me. I'm sorry.
This is the great
I'm really
unveiling
sorry.
of the voice. Behind the intro.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for being my friend. Can we hold hands? Can we hold hands for a minute?
Yes.
And thank you for allowing me to do the voice intro. It's just
absolutely
super cool, and I'm very honored. And I was telling Stephanie, I put a little wish out there that I might get asked to be on the show, and
of course,
prayers answered.
You know the craziest thing? I started hearing your name long before I met you.
Oh gosh.
Well, everyone talked about this Mama O, and this is bigger than life personality and human, apparently, too, in Spokane. And at first I was like enough with this whole magical Mama O business.
Where is this unicorn?
Yes. And then I met you, and I instantly fell in love with you. And honestly, and everyone that knows you that I know, none of us can understand comprehend how another human, how you can be so thoughtful to so many people. You are always, just now, these earrings.
Oh, we're celebrating her birthday still. Happy birthday, Stephanie.
Thank you. Jen outed me out as a 45-year-old my first show, and that was way before I was 45. That was 3 weeks ago. And now I'm officially 45.
You got to get in the swing of things, though. I get it.
Yes. Well, I wasn't ready to adopt the number. And
yeah, right. I get that.
But thank you for the earrings.
Yes.
But that's another thing. And little amethyst hearts.
Yes.
And I watch this. I witness this about you all the time. You always show up with little things for the entire team at Bozzy Media, often all the people in your life. And I know your resources are stretched thin a lot of times, and you still manage to show up with cards and flowers and gifts that are just so specific to that person. How do you do it? How do you keep everyone straight and in your heart so?
I don't know. I just am a bundle of love, and I want to share it. I want to love on as many people as possible. Yeah. Now that's not casting a wide net or anything. Dating, online dating. Yeah. I love people, and I just found out about what is it called? The human. It's like a human genome project that takes in astrology, Chinese and Western astrology, and the I Ching. I think I told you about this. And I found out my incarnation is called the right angle of the cross of the vessel of love. I'm going to let that sink in. I don't even know what it means, but it's like, yes, that's what I am. I'm a little love. Sense. I'm a love bug. Yeah. And I love on my people, and I don't feel like I would be the person that I am if it weren't for the wonderful people in my life, like yourself. Yeah. And I have so many great friends and lots to be grateful for. So, and it's my love language. It must be. I mean, I'm gifty.
You're really good at that.
Thank you.
And you always make me feel special and like a rock star. And the crazy thing is you know so much about my life, so you would have every reason to understand how not rock star-ish I am, or any, whatever. I appreciate you constantly being a force of amazing, brilliant light.
Thank you.
In my life and everyone, and in our city. The other thing is you've been through this major transformation. You call it radical self-care.
Yes. Well, radical self-care is what I have.
That you've adopted.
Yes, exactly. That I've adopted in my life. And but when people have asked me, because it's become outward this last year, appearance-wise, I've cut away at the sculpture that's been inside the stone, if you will. And people are like, what are you doing? And I say, I've excavated my authentic self.
Yeah.
And I know that's kind of ubiquitous, and people are like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, how much time do you got? I mean, it's been so many things, but healing my heart really is what it came down to, and
Yeah.
lots of trials and tribulations. And going back to what you were saying about showing up as a rock star, it's not what happens to us. We are not what happens to us. It's how we weather it and how we get through it. And if we can get through it with grace, and I mean, it's going to get ugly sometimes, but just to get through it as best we can and try and not let it dampen or extinguish our light.
One thing I've been super curious about, we've spoken a lot about just your own transformation, but one thing that and my weight has fluctuated off and on so wildly over the years, so I've witnessed this a little bit too, but I want to know from yours, this magnificent Mama O personality, larger than life, and everyone knew you to be about 100 pounds more than you are now, etc. And we know what I know a little bit, but my curious thing is, what have you noticed about a change in others around you?
Very interesting and great question. And that's been one of the biggest eye-openers, is how some people do treat you differently.
Yeah.
By and large, it hasn't been, no pun intended, it hasn't been pervasively people really treating me differently, which is a testament to how wonderful the people in my life are. A lot of people are like, you look so great. You always looked great. You've always been beautiful. But they can tell that I feel that there is like literally a weight that's been lifted, and figuratively, not just the weight that I've relinquished. We're not going to say that I lost it, because that which is lost can be found. So don't say that. Someone told me that years ago. They're like, that which is lost can be found, so don't say you lost it or misplaced it, because I don't want it to come. It was years of grief, and I think carrying around other people's stuff, and we take on things, especially being an empath. I joke that what I am, there isn't a word for in the English language yet, but because I do feel so much and I do love so much. And there was heaps of deaths, primarily suicide, strangely.
I know you have been so blasted throughout your life by suicide and significant humans in your life.
Over 3 dozen now. And not all of them were bosom buddies or partners, but a third of them were truly significant, including my daughter's father. And that's the 10-year anniversary this year. And I know your life has been shadowed by that too at times. And it's something else though that has made me built strength of character, and to be there for others and be of service to others in some capacity. And like I keep telling people, I'm just getting started, because I feel like I've just been, by being large and not being who I came here to be, I've been playing small and not being the bright light in the world that I came here to be. So I'm like, see how awesome this thing is going to get. I've only, like they say, we use 2% of our brain or something ridiculous, or maybe 10%. I don't know if we're lucky. But I'm excited. There's so much left to do, and so many people to love. And
with the passing, with Warren is your daughter's father. And after his suicide, were you able to share that he had committed suicide with the people around you and anyone significant in your life right away, or did it take some time to?
Everyone but Charlotte. She was so young when it happened, and I sought counseling right away, because I wanted to handle it very well. And how do you? She knew about his death, but since he was in New Zealand, he wasn't someone that we saw at all, not even often, but at all, because he had gone home to get treatment and get well, and treatment for mental illness. And anyway, they said, hey, if you can, the longer you can keep it from her, not lie to her, I never lied, but to protect her so that it wasn't, it was already hurtful that he was gone, but I just knew her fragile psyche and how this is going to be a tough conversation. And I just knew in my heart I'd like to have it at a time when she understands more about life, more about death, more about her father's illness. And all of that, so it doesn't become, because it could be real dangerous. And she does know now. It was a little over a year ago, I think we had that talk. And she had come to the conclusion herself when we talked. I said, hey, can I wait till we get home? Pulled the car over, and we talked about it. And she said, yeah. She said, was it suicide? And she had, she knew. There was a reason that Mom evaded it the last few years. So, but she's incredibly strong little human too, and has been through a lot and been there for me a great deal. So that's one of the greatest joys of my life is my daughter, and she's.
I was going to ask you, what do you think the greatest success in your life has been?
I hope being a mom.
I had a feeling that Charlotte was going to be top of the list. Outside from being a mom, what do you feel is your greatest success to date? Where you feel most triumphant?
A good human, a good friend, I hope. you know, someone that people can rely on and respect and think well of, and that I make a difference, you know. I mean, for goodness sake, what are we here for if not to make a difference in the world and people's lives? So I hope that.
Yeah. What has been the most challenging aspect of your life that you've persevered through?
My earliest relationship, which was with my mom.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's been tough, and she and I are in a good place now, but we weren't for a long time. And you know, there were seeds of things that were planted from a young age that probably didn't need to go into the garden, shall we say? Am I putting this well?
Yeah.
Getting over that, because, you know, our earliest memories, the stuff that we tell ourselves or are told, that sets the stage and the tapes, and learning to not, you know, I didn't think I was pretty. I didn't think I was worthy of love. I didn't believe a lot of these things, and a lot of that's been part of the excavation of the authentic self, is knowing you are beautiful, you are loved, you're wonderful, and you came here to do a great service. And when you quit buying the crap, so to speak, and know what's real and right, it certainly makes a big difference.
When you realize the profound effect of some things that your mom has done in your life through your childhood, do you reflect on your relationship with Charlotte then and see
absolutely
some areas that you think I should clean that up, or
that's
a seed that we need to...
I think it's too easy for us to take our insecurities or past hurts and project them onto whomever, but our children are the worst of it, because they're the ones who should be getting the best, not the worst.
Yeah, well, I know it's tough as a single parent as well, because you don't have a significant human in your home.
Right.
And I've realized I speak to adults all day long.
Yeah.
But there's something about being home and having that space.
Yes.
And so my kids have heard a lot more than they probably would have if I had a significant other
Yeah,
in my
same
home,
with
because I
Charlotte.
would have had those conversations.
Right.
Nothing really too inappropriate, but definitely higher level types of conversations.
Yeah. They become like your significant other. I know Charlotte, I mean, she is my significant other. It's just been she and I, you know, I joke, she and I against the world, which is, you know, I'm not trying to be negative about that, but it has felt like that at some times. And times have been tough financially and emotionally, obviously, and we've, you know, weathered it. My spirituality has gotten me through. I've always been very spiritual, but we attend a place in Spokane called Unity that's a spiritual center, and it's been great for me because it's allowed me to be creative and serve others and learn more about myself, and there's a lot of self-help and things going on. So I'm grateful for that too, and I'm grateful that I sought that out, because as a single mom, I was like, where do I go? I need a circle of support. Oh, wait, there's this church. And they're, you know, we call ourselves unitics because we're a little, you know, progressive, and it's a very progressive place.
Every place should be called a unitic.
Right?
Just humanity in general.
We're unitics.
Unified. There's
That's
a little lunacy in everyone.
It is. It's about a all for one, one for all kind of thing, and we're all in this together. So thank goodness.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, we're going to just take a quick little break.
Okay.
And we'll be right back.
Welcome to Tom Sawyer Country Coffee.
Tom Sawyer Country Coffee only roasts the finest organic coffee for our signature blends. Enjoy a cup at our coffee shop and local businesses and organizations across the region.
I'm Tom Sawyer, and we choose the Pacific Northwest.
Last year alone, Avista customers saved over 53 million kilowatt hours of energy. Enough to power more than 4,000 homes for an entire year. Way to save, everyone. Way to save. Find your way to save at avistautilities.com.
What? You haven't been to the library lately? Stop in today and see that the library is more than books. Spokane County Library District facilities feature on-site technology, including Wi-Fi, computers, and printers, as well as free use of meeting rooms. The Library District offers events and programs for all ages, from story times to career development and employer classes to Social Security workshops. Our staff is well trained and happy to help. Find out more about your library at scld.org.
Welcome back to She Says with Mama O, a.k.a. Erin Meenach, or vice versa. What is your deepest longing?
Oh, wow. That is such a great question.
It's super personal.
It is.
And there'll only be a couple of thousand people that listen.
Well, now, to live a long, healthy life, to get to see my daughter grow further into a magnificent young woman and perhaps have a family of her own. Now I really, really want to stick around and be there for her. That's probably at the top of the list.
Isn't that crazy? I remember being kind of radical when I was younger.
Yeah.
I remember passing cars on the freeway, like multiple cars in a row. And then I had a child, and suddenly my life became so important.
Yeah.
Because someone relied on me, and there was no
Yeah.
way I was going to jeopardize that and take the most significant, probably human, in that little person's life away.
Right.
So definitely understand the deepest longing is too. And part of the radical self-care and then the health and healing, I think of that most when I've been a little loosey-goosey on my health and lifestyle.
Yeah, I feel
I
like
let myself be stressed, and I'm like, what am I doing? Because
it's detrimental and it takes away.
Yeah.
And it's part of that radical self-care for myself too, is to, I have friends that are battling illnesses and facing cancer, and it just puts life into perspective so much. So I want to be here and do good for as long as I can. And like I say, be here for Charlotte, because that really this last year especially. It's as you get older, things just really, it doesn't become myopic, maybe a little, but it puts things into perspective in a way that it's like, I'm in love with life right now. I just really am. No matter how stressed out I am, either at work or personally, or spat with, or perceived spat with a friend or what have you. It's keep it into perspective, and life is really grand.
Yeah. How do you feel you contribute to the sisterhood? I know sometimes women, our relationships have gotten a bad rap over the years, and how we can kind of be nasty to one another.
Right.
Or competitive and
I never understood that for me personally, because I valued my friendships so much, and I have known women that are, I get along better with guys more than women, which is interesting to me, just because I've always thought, well, God, shouldn't there be like an unspoken sisterhood of us?
Yeah.
I hope that I am seen as a formidable force for the good and not to go against the grain, because it's actually been in my nature not to be competitive. So I've not allowed myself to do a lot of things, because I'll say, I have many friends that are artists. I think I'm an artist. I can't be an artist because I have all these friends that are. It'll be seen to be competitive, so I'll just kind of go over here and I'll support them in what they're doing, but I won't. It's like a fear of shining too bright.
Yeah.
Like that quote by Marianne Williamson that Nelson Mandela actually quoted. That's who am I to be too brilliant, gorgeous, and talented? Who are you not to be?
Yeah.
You came here to shine your light. By golly, do it. So hopefully by shining my light too, so that others can. I'd love to be more involved. I didn't get to do the last Women's March because I was working that day, but a good friend of mine, Marlene Sullivan, who I actually know through Unity Murphy, she headed it up and scheduled a lot of the speakers and was one of the keynote speakers that led it. So I love that the movement is happening. I want to say that I'm a feminist too, but I also feel like I'm a humanist. I wish that there needs to be equality for everyone on this planet. It just seems so out of whack. And I feel like we're getting there because the conversations are happening. But it's interesting where the pendulum will end up, because it is swinging so far this way now too, and people seem so divided. It will be lovely to have a nice unification.
Well, that's tough. Last week I had Stephanie Cates on the show, and she and I were talking about it, and some of the unveiling of this movement is not necessarily something other women would choose.
Right.
I mean, everyone has their own way of doing it, but it just feels so explosive.
Right.
And like it's this volcano that's been brewing for a long time, and now it's just way off the charts, and I'm sure it will come back down and simmer down. But I love the idea of being humanist versus.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, being a feminist has been around forever and ever as a way to just also claim our space. It's a really incredibly amazing when you look back over the history. Of women.
And how far we've come in a short amount of time.
Well, it's strange because I can't even imagine being in a situation where I was primarily lots of different things. I mean, couldn't vote. I'm part of NABO Northwest, the National Association of Women Business Owners, which was created in the 80s by a group of women business owners to change the law so they can actually sign their own bank documents for their businesses, because they had to have a man, whether that was their husband or a brother or a son.
That's incredible.
So their teenage son could sign for them, but they couldn't. So I mean, just crazy. And that was in the 80s. It's like some of this stuff happened so far before we were even alive, so it's hard to associate. But when you start realizing it's really not that far. It's appalling, the stuff that was considered acceptable. I mean, even the word, and not to diss it at all, but I just think it's interesting, the word golf. You know, it's an acronym, gentlemen only, ladies forbidden. That's what that stands for. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Someone reminded me of that not that long ago, and I thought, I'm surprised no one has attacked the word yet. You know what I mean?
Well,
because
women
look where
have
that
attacked
came
it by
from.
attacking the ball on the golf course.
Yeah, right.
And being forces. Unless you're like me, I just go
Yeah.
for the
But it
beer
is
and
interesting
sunshine.
how it was so pervasive and just, like I say, accepted.
Yeah.
It was just how things were done, you know?
Yeah.
Not anymore.
And some men will tell me they think women are worse than men. It's just been more, I don't know, prevalent, and women are quieter about the things we say or the objectification that we maybe dabble in
Right.
with men. A good friend of mine sent him a link to this show coming up at the Spokane Comedy Club, and maybe it's already occurred, but it was one of those Chippendale-like
Oh, right.
Chippendale-esque shows.
Yes.
And she said, "Oh, it looks like there's this fun show at Comedy Club." And I was like, "It's not my kind of show," because there's zero interest
Right.
in that whatsoever.
Yeah.
And she said, "Well, I don't understand what the problem is." And I explained what it was. And she's like, "Holy cow."
Right.
I don't know if she was-
Objectification
I don't know
once
if she
again.
was saving herself or that
Yeah.
she did have a desire to go. And she's like, "Oh, no, I'm not into that either." But
Right.
yeah, because the Chippendales things is women are openly posting about it online when they go to see those shows.
Right.
But men aren't openly posting it online that they go to State Line or Miss
Yeah.
Kitties or whatever they're.
Yeah. It's a
strip
perception
types of
thing.
chicks.
If you look at it,
Yeah.
it's like, well, tit for tat, no pun intended.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a great business name. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we might be onto something.
Okay, if your life is one of my favorite questions, if your life was the snow globe and you could shake it up, you get all those pieces floating around, how would you like it to settle back down?
It would be very sparkly, and there would be lots of gemstones and crystals in there. I like thinking of my life in a snow. And it's funny that you say that.
Oh, yeah,
So I wear
see,
my little
look.
snowflake that I
Yeah.
got from Pamela, my boss at Wonders of the World, one of my jobs. What would it look like? It would be beautiful and serene and magical, and people would look upon it and just go, "Oh, I want to be in there too with her."
What would be different about, would you have more children, less children? Would you have a spouse? Would you?
It would be full of adventure.
Yeah,
I am
whatever that
most happy
entails.
when I'm traveling, when I'm on a road trip, when
Yes.
I'm exploring and seeing new places. I've traveled just a little bit in my life, but I'm happiest, I think, when I travel and getting to meet new, because I love people so much, getting
Yeah.
to meet new people and go places. So it might be like a little adventure or something in there. I don't know.
I love
I
that.
don't like sitting still very much.
No, but you do a great job of weaving in adventure, whether it's
Thank
a
you.
zip
Yeah.
quick trip to Portland or
Yeah.
Seattle or.
Yes.
I am going to Sandpoint on Saturday with a couple of girlfriends
Oh, I
for
love Sandpoint.
a little birthday trip.
Good.
And I feel like it's one night overnight, but
And
I
it
feel like
feel-
I am getting
Going to
out.
Mexico,
I
eh?
do.
Yes.
A little cabin on the lake, serene,
Oh,
girl
that's
time.
awesome.
And
It's
it's just funny,
necessary.
just that hitting the road
Yeah.
and going on a road trip is so, it's like one of the best
Yeah.
things ever. And of course, being on an airplane, going to a tropical place.
Is great too, but you don't have to get on
Yeah.
a plane. I
No.
got to go on 7 trips last year, I counted. And I hadn't even realized. 4 just with my childhood bestie alone.
Yeah.
And we went 1 per season, and it wasn't like we set out to do that. Now this year we're like, okay, how many? Let's do
Yeah.
more of that. And we had such a great time because I kind of try and live in this. We loosely have plans. There's certain maybe 1 or 2 things we want to do, and then we'll just explore and see what the city has to offer and pick up their local
Yeah.
free weekly or what have you, or get online and see what's going on, kind of deal. And my motto is, how can it get any better? And we just keep
Yes.
doing that, and then
Yeah.
like it just magically unfolds, and people will go, "You guys did so much fun stuff," and I'll be like, "When you open up your life to and have a good attitude, and
Yeah.
the affirmations. I mean, I do affirmations every day.
Yeah.
I pray, not as much as I should, even I don't think, but
Yeah.
all of those things have helped. They just make life really super sweet.
Well, and your adventure, like you're saying all this, and I'm remembering you do adventurous things right here in Spokane, like the salt rooms.
Yeah, yes, the
and-
Salt Crystal Cottage my friend Laura owns, and if you haven't been there, everyone should experience it. It's wonderful. It's wonderfully peaceful, but the health-giving properties as well when you go, and it's very cleansing for people with respiratory issues, as I have, or allergies. It's fantastic, and it's on right off of like Division on Ruby, just before you go up the hill. It's kind of
Yeah.
hidden, and it's kind of like Spokane's best kept secret. Not that she's trying to keep it a secret by any means.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be organizing some girls' nights to go in, so a bunch of us can, get together and
I
just
know
have
you've
that.
asked me 480 times.
We're gonna. Well, there's more coming.
It's not made.
There's
not
more to
made.
come. More Salt Crystal Cottage. The Dreamtime sound baths. I've
That's
been
the
doing
other
a
thing
lot.
I was gonna ask you
Yes,
about,
I get to go to
because-
one tomorrow night. And those are based out of Coeur d'Alene, but they do come to Spokane.
Mm-hmm.
So Seth and Alicia Blackwolf, who are 2 of my my very best friends. I call him the shaman, and she's the high priestess of Dreamtime. But it's a sound healing experience, and then Yoga Nidra, which is a guided meditation. It was funny because a friend of mine who's going tomorrow night said, oh gosh, she has a bursitis in her arm, and she goes, I don't know if I can get into some of those poses. And I said, well, it's not a pose. You just get to lay there and relax and I think it's because the Yoga Nidra people are like, oh, it's exercise. No, it's deeply relaxing and a reset, and it cleanses, your aura, and not just your auric fields, but the sound waves, and there's scientific proof that it literally heals from the inside out, all of your cells. So that's been terrific. I do biofeedback on occasion with my friend Jennifer, who does that in town. So there's so many healing modalities out there that sound a little woo-woo, but they really help.
I will admit things have sounded woo-woo early on, but
Mercury retrograde.
I know, and you tell me, you come to me and tell me something about the moon and the stars and the heavens above and how everything's aligned. I'm like, whoa, that's really makes a lot of sense.
The stuff comes to pass. I don't live my life by it. It's just nice to know. It's kind of like having a roadmap, or on your GPS, if it'll say, hey, okay, there's an accident, we're going to send you on this detour. It's those little breadcrumbs are helpful. Yeah. It's good to know.
Well, and I've witnessed it. You've been a witness of it all.
Yes.
Seeing that unfold in your life is
see what's happening?
It's pretty cool.
And Mercury's not retrograde right now, and those that know, but we have been having solar flares, which would account for some of the craziness the last week or so.
Flares is the word right there.
Flares. Right? Yeah.
Okay, we're running out of time, but what is your next big thing?
Wow. Well, I'm working on some events with Bozzy Media this year.
Yeah.
Hot Summer Nights being one of them. So I hope that is one of my next big
People
things.
are going to be so excited since it was skipped last year.
Right?
To come back.
It's very, and I will say my job at Bozzy, besides, many things, it's brought me together with wonderful people like yourself and Cindy and Christy and getting to do these events and, opportunities that I'd never had before. So I'm very, very grateful to my boss, to Vince, for that. And exploring my talents. I wear a lot of hats around there, as you know. Yeah. Getting to do the Best of the City was probably one of the coolest things I've ever gotten to do. But getting to do Hot Summer Nights will be super exciting. The other best great thing, hopefully, is I look forward to falling in love again and finding someone. It's just going to be tricky. So they've got to be dynamic and patient. And
the best part that I can see is that because you've come into this healthy place and you have really amazing boundaries and you're honoring yourself every step of the way, you don't have to dabble in anything for long to understand if it's something worth continuing in or not.
When you get to know yourself and honor yourself, it's easier to go, no, thank you.
Yeah.
You don't have to say no. No, thank you is fine, and move along.
Sometimes we get tangled up in the wrong thing for too long, and it just prevents the right thing from
because we're putting someone else's needs first, or because
Yes.
it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because having uncomfortable conversations isn't fun for anyone. But the more often you have them, and I learned that from my daughter in preschool when they're like, use your words. And I saw her tell a young man, you can't use your words to hurt me like that. She's like 4.5, almost 5 years old. I was like,
that's been amazing.
Wow.
Listening to my children and some of their boundaries and such that's been instilled into them. Like, thank you for that lesson.
Yeah, they're great reminders.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much. I adore you.
Thank
We'll
you
definitely
for
be on
having me.
again, of course.
We'd love that.
You're a wonderful human. Keep shining your light.
Thank you.
I'm grateful to be in your life, and I look forward to lots more time with you.
I love you too.
And if you don't know Mama O, Erin Meenach, look her up on Facebook, I would say.
Aww.
She's always this ray of positivity, and
try to be.
Yeah, she's someone you want in your life. So
Thank you.
And thank you. I will see you next week.
She Says is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content.